we'll do a review in Lekutei Sichos in Chelek Tesvav and Chelek Chof, the volume 20. This is the first Sicha for the Parshas Vayetzei. The Rebbe explains the Medrash that Yaakov Avinu, while he was in the house of Lavan, he was saying Tehillim. It was saying the 15 chapters of Tehillim. Why exactly 15? The Rebbe explained those represent the 15 years that Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov lived together. And it was important for Yaakov to have the zchus also from Avram and Yitzchak. And that's also the number Yud K, which is 15, because having the level of moichin allows for the person to have all the different emotions, that to give him strength and to be able to overcome all of the challenges that he faced in the house of Lavan, as we'll see in the Sicha. Let's go step by step. Vayetzei Aleph. On Pasuk Vayishka b'mokim hahu, on the verse that he slept in that place, state in Medrash. So the Medrash, it states in the Medrash that Kan Shochav, he slept there. There is like an emphasis that only there he slept. But I will call you Dalit Shono, Shahoya Tomun Bebeis Aver, but the entire 14 years that he was hidden in the house of Aver. This is talking about before he went to Lavan, when he was studying, he spent 14 years hidden in the house of Aver. Lo Shochav, over there he didn't sleep. So that's one opinion, talking about that the lack of sleep took place while he was learning Torah. But there's another opinion. He brings that Zweite Day, he brings a second opinion, Kan Shochav, that he slept now, B'mokim hahu, in the Vayetzei Yaakov, when he was leaving Lavan. I will call you Dalid, I will call Chof Shana. But the 20 years that he spent, he didn't sleep. Over there, working for Lavan, also he didn't sleep. First one says he didn't sleep while he was learning in the yeshiva of Aver, hidden in the yeshiva of Aver for 14 years. Here, the thing is that he didn't sleep by Lavan. As the pasuk says, "Batidar shnosi me'enoi," that sleep have been lacking away from my eyes. Weiter is a mamshich. And then he continues further in Medrash. In the Medrash, he says, so what was he saying there? So what is it that he was saying? What was he saying? So Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says, Omar, Tezvav Shir Hamalis Shebesefer Tehillim, that he would say the 15 chapters in Tehillim, they begin with Shir Hamailis, and my time. Why was he saying the 15 Shir Hamailis? Because Shir Hamailis LeDavid, Lule Havaya Shehoya Lonu Yoimar No Yisrael. Yisrael, which is in this case Yisrael Sova, the elder Yisrael, Yaakov Avinu, he would say the Shir Hamalis Lule Havaya Shehoya Lonu. Had it not been for Hashem who supported me, who helped me, says Yisrael, basically that the Eibishter had to help him in his situation. That's the opinion of Rabbi Shua ben Levi, that he said the 15 Shir Hamalis. Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachman, his opinion is that Kol Sefer Tehillim Hoya, he would say the entire book of Tehillim. Matam, what's the reason? Va'ato Kodesh Yoshev Tehillos Yisrael, because it says that you, holy, the Eibishter, who is holy, distinguished, Yoshev Tehillos Yisrael was sitting because of the songs of Yisrael, Yisrael Sova, which is the elder Yisrael, which is Yaakov Avinu. He was sitting on the Tehillos Yisrael. What does it mean? The Pshat in the Shiloh, Mahoya Omer. What is the meaning? What was he saying? He was very busy working. What was he saying? The question is because since he was in such a difficult situation? How did he overcome? What did he say? What parts of Torah did he give him the koyach to overcome his predicament, his situation? Maya Omer. So what is the question? Can it zayin with vos Yaakov Avinu given farnum bebeis Lavan? This cannot be. Question is, what was he occupied in the house of Lavan? Well, because it says very clearly, as it had gearbet mitzoin Lavan b'chol koichay, that he worked with the Lavan's sheep with all of his power, to the extent these by Yoim Goimer, that in the day he was all of it, and he didn't have any time to sleep. That sleep was prevented from my eyes because of all the work that he's doing. So it's not a question over here, what did he do as far as work goes? Nor the shaila is what the question that it is. Was hat Yaakov gesagt, what did he say? What did he daven? What did he learn today to kennen, überkommen, die Schwierigkeiten in Chorem beveis Lavan, in order to be able to overcome the difficulties in the house of Lavan? Zayendig beveis Lavan is the Yaakov given in Amayim with the Matzah Shel Golus. While he was in the house of Lavan, Yaakov was in a situation and a standing, he was in exile. And his Avegigang beis Yitzchok Aviv, he went away from his home, from his father's home, Yitzchok, to Zayin beveis Lavan, to be in the house of Lavan. Lavan's son, and there he occupied himself with the sheep of Lavan. That was Lavan's sheep. These are gefinnen sich beveis Lavan, to the extent that finding himself in the house of Lavan had gepeiled by him yeridim mimadrigosei. We see that this impacted him, that he descended from his Lavan, just being with Lavan. Rashi says, as Yaakov had gesagt, Yaakov said, Im Ramos that if he is coming to with trickery, with deception, I'm his brother there too. I can deceive as well. Beramos, this haste, that means to say, as by im is given kaviyochol der inyan ramos, as if to say that he had this idea of this deception, this bedugmas Ramos the Lomas, similar to the Ramos Lomas, says Amani Ochidam, his brother Ramos. Ber deriver the Shaila. So therefore the question is, the Azoyis are durchgegangen beigestanden dem Inyan Hagolus. How did he go through? How did he withstand the idea of exile? Zicher is dos given. So that's the question. It must have been, it's sure this was Durch HaKol Kol Yaakov, the voice of Yaakov, Welcher is Mevatel, the Yadayim. That is the one Kol Yaakov takes away, negates the hands on the Menagdim from Yaakov, those opposing to Yaakov, Vinyonov and Yaakov's matter. Kemaimer Chazal, as our sages tell us that Bishah, when there is the Yadayim, the Yesa, we have the Kol Yaakov, that they overpower the Yaakov. So what was his Kol Yaakov over there to help him overcome the opposition from home of Lavan? And the Shah question is, what would he say? If them entered the Medrash, so here the Medrash answers, as those are given the Tezvov Shir HaMailis, Sheva Sefer Tehillim, that was the 15 Shir HaMailis in the book of Tehillim, or the Kol Sefer Tehillim, the entire Sefer Tehillim. That gave him the power as Okena Durchmachen the Minyan Hagolus, that he should be able to go through this idea of Golus. Okay, so here the Rebbe just brings down the explaining what is the idea, what the question, what he was saying is, how did he get the koyach to overcome? And then we have the two opinions. Either he said the 15 Shir HaMailis, or the entire book of Tehillim. But the question is, what is the special connection to 15 Shir HaMailis versus the entire Tehillim? If you say he said Tehillim, we understand all of Tehillim because probably could not concentrate to learn Torah intently as he was used to the base Aviv or Shem Ever, but here he had to say Tehillim. But why this 15 chapter base? And therefore, we have to, however, understand it's okay. We understand, according to the opinion, as Kol Sefer Tehillim that he would say the entire book of Tehillim is verstanding the Sheiches from the Amira to Yaakov. So we understand the connection of saying that to Yaakov in the Zeit Sha'amad B'Veser Shalavan at the time that he was standing in the house of Lavan, why he said them all. Warum seien die in a Matzav, wo bepashtus, so that we can't learn and Torah being in a condition where obviously, very simply, he was not able to study Torah intently. I call upon him. At least he wasn't able to do it as intent. Not to the level that he was intently studying Torah when he was hidden in the house of Eber. So therefore, because he couldn't learn with such intensity, so he said praises to Hashem. And he said such prayers of what? That you take reward when you say such praises, just as if you get reward, as if you were studying in the most difficult parts of the Torah, Shabbat Peh, learning in Tractate Negoim or learning in the Tractate Aholis. Vos is aber the spezielle Sheiches. What, however, is the special connection from the Tezvav Shiramalis Shebesefer Tehillim? What is the connection of this 15 Shiramalis in the Sefer Tehillim to Zain Matzeh Beveis Lavan, to his condition Beis Lavan? So while we understand the connection to why would one want to learn Torah in such a level, why you would say the whole Tehillim, because Tehillim is considered as a reward, as one who does in the Goyim Ba'olis, as it brought down in the Medrash Echatoiv, Yaakov Shimoyne, as the Rebbe brings down the Ha'ara. But what special connection is there to this 15 Shir Hamalis that Yaakov was saying to help him overcome the situation he found himself in the house of Lavan? But das Verstehen behagden was der Chido bringt, will understand this first by introducing that which the Chido brings as the Tezvav Shiramalis Omar David Olav Hashalom, that the 15 Shiramalis, David, peace unto him, said him, Keneged, they correspond to the Tezvav Shonim Shechoyo Avos B'Yachas. There were 15 years that Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were in the world at the same time, as we see. From Avram Avinu had gelebt meya shana v'shivim shana v'chamesh shana. The pasuk says he lived 175 years. Yitzchak is geboren when Avram is given ben meya shana. He was born when Avram was 100 years old. So, and Yaakov is geboren when Yaakov was born when Yitzchak is given ben shishim shana. So, when Yaakov was born, Avram was 160 years old, and he died 175. So from 160 to 175, those 15 years, Avram and Yitzchak and Yaakov were in the world together. Kumtuis as a zayin given tezvav shonim shechoyu ha'avos b'yachad. There was 15 years that the forefathers, the Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, lived together. So based on this chidah, we can say that this 15 represents, and that's why these 15 shiramas represent Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, the time that they were together. As Yaakov had gesagt, the Tezvav shiramalis shebesefer Tehillim, that we can say that Yaakov said these 15 shiramalis that are in the book of Tehillim, in order to awaken, to arouse also the merit to have the merit of his fathers, Yaakov, this haste, Avram Yitzchak, Yaakov's parents, Avram and Yitzchak, this haste, in addition to his own merits and strength and powers, he should also draw down for himself the strength, the power of Avram and Yitzchak should come down to Yaakov. That's why we were saying this Shir HaMailos, the 15, which represents all three of them, Avram and Yitzchak, in addition to his own. But durch them, Dafke, specifically, if he has also the powers of Avram and Yitzchak, he was able to tolerate, go through the difficulty in the house of Lavan. As he said later on, Lulei Elikei Avi Elikei Avraham Upachad Yitzchak Hoyeli Gomer. If not for the God of my father, the God of Avram, and the fear of Yitzchak, the Hashem, which is the fear of Yitzchak, were to me, had they not protected me, then I would not be able to make it through. Gimel. So now the Rebbe explains why we need all three to battle war. The Rebbe brings down an example that when you wage war, the way the Seder is, you break up the people in three. You have one in the middle and two on the sides. So in order to conquer, you take all three against one. That's also by the Yetzer Hara. When you attack the Yetzer Hara, you attack it with three forces, not with one. And the three is Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, which is the three different emotions to attack the Yetzer Hara and to be able to be successful and win the war. Gimel. Der Tam, was gedacht ankommen zu Schuss von alle Ovis, the reason why he needed the merit of all the forefathers, Avram and Yitzchak as well as his own, in order to baikum and the nisyonis from Lavan, in order to overcome the temptation, the tests that took place by Lavan. But when verstehen von der Eitzah will understand it about the advice was bringt sich, that is brought down, that comes from the Tzemach Tzedek, a mimer of the Tzemach Tzedek, that it says there's Seder Vitzu Menatzeich Zayin in Milchemes HaYetzer, how one can win in the war of the Yetzer Hara. That was learned from a literal war, which took place during the times of the Alter Rebbe. They say that from Marochis HaMilchama, the way they arranged, the war arrangements were such, Bechlal is, as Mechalkim Kol Echod Achayel Shelo Legibul Chalokim, each one breaks up, divides, splits up the army into three parts. Chelek Echad Be'em, so one is in the middle. Shtei Yodis Meiminu Shmol, and you have two hands, two sides, from the right and from the left. And also the opposing side sets up to these three parts, three against three parts against three parts. And they wage war, these against the other. Und die Atzloche in der Milchama was given in jener Zeit. What was the success that took place at that time, at that war? Is gekommen durch them. It came through the fact was motavegestellt gimel machnes shaloi, that we stood up the three camps of his angegen ein machne from them against one camp of the enemy. Was al yidezem is gaber bevade alei. That way, for sure, he can overpower over them. Similarly, we also learn with regards to the spiritual war, Milchemes HaYetzer, which is waging war against the Yetzer, against the inclination. That in order to beat and be victorious over the inclination, you need to arouse, wake up, Kol midas, kol gimel midas to kedusha. All three measures of kedusha: ava and yira v'rachamim, love, fear, and compassion. L'umas mida achas de klipa, against one characteristic, one measure of klipa. That way, for sure, you'll be able to throw it down and be victorious over that midah of the klipa. Und der Fahr darf man haben the tezvov shir hamalis, and that's why we need the 15 shir hamalis, which correspond to the 15 years that the father lived together. In order to go through and to overcome the idea of exile. The Gimel Oves Zainadoch Keneged the Gimel Midas the Kedusha. The three forefathers are corresponding to the three emotions of Kedusha: Avo and Yira V'Rachma, love, fear, and compassion. B'Shas Mahot Ale Gimel Oves B'Yachad. When you have all the three forefathers together, there's haste, which means the Kleib Zusammen Ale Gimel Midas that you collect all the three emotions of Kedusha together, then you have the power to overcome all the tests of the Golus, and to negate them. So that is the Tezvov. Saying those Tezvov brings out and gives the strength of all the Father, which is all of the Midas, Ava Yira, together with the compassion, with Rachamim, in order to able to overcome the challenge, one challenge against the three, and to beat it for sure. Based on this, we can say the hint, based on the path of Chassidus, Vadiuk in the Mispar Tezvov Shiramalis, and this precise number, 15 Shiramalis, und Tezvov Shahoy Shonim Shoyavos B'Yochad, and the 15 years that the fathers were at the same time. Mispar Tezvov Weister, the Erste Tzvei Oisius von Shem Havaya. The number 15 points to the first two letters of the name of Hashem, which is Yud K. The first two letters, Yud and the K, is Bigematria, is the numerical value of Tezvov, 15. Was the Chilik zwischen Yud K und Vav K, the difference between the first two letters of the name Hashem, Yud K, and the second two letters, the Vav K, is as the Oisius Vav K, the letters of Vav K, Zayin and Bechinas, Midas and Malchus, they represent Midas, Vav is Midas, and Malchus is the K. The Hey, und the Oisius Yud K, Zayin and Bechinas, Moichen, they represent the level of the intellect. Yud is Chochma, and the Hey is Bina. Und das ist der Inyan von the Tezvav Shonim Shahoyu Ha'aves B'Yachad. This is the concept of the 15 years that the fathers lived together. Kedei as alle drei Midas sollen kennen sein zusammen ubi his galus. In order that all of these three emotions, the characteristic traits of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, should be able to be together, and in a revealed way, they all live together. This is meaning Tezvov live together. How do you do that? Darf in the Midas Meir sein der Eur HaMeichid. Then in the Midas needs to shine the light of the intellect. That's how they can be Choyu B'Yachad. Warum Hayois as Leuchen sein and Hecher von Eufen Hayischalkus from Midas, since the Meuchen are higher than the dividing, the separation of Midas, the Riber Poilun Zay the Iskalus Midas. That's why they impact the inclusion that the Midas should be together. So the Yud K, the Tezvov, the Moichin, which are higher from the distinction and division of Midas, cause them to come together. So Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Choyu is the Tezvov, is the Yud K. Hey, das is aber l'chayre, it must be this isn't sufficient, because these are not just regular Tezvov, these are songs. Songs is a level of Simcha, Shir, Simcha. Das is aber l'chayre nit maspik. This seemingly is not sufficient. The test of Shir Hamayla Shabbat Sefer Tehillim, this 15 sings of the milas of the steps that were in the Beis Hamikdash, that in the book of Tehillim, werden angerufen b'shem Shir. They're called song. But Shir is verbunden mit an Inyan shel Simcha. Shir is associated, tied to an idea of joy. Is wie hat Yaakov gekannt sagen Shir Hamalis? How could Yaakov said the song of the Milas? Inyan shel Shira, which is an idea of a song. Zayin diger amatzav maimed umatzav shel golus, while he is in a situation of golus. Even in a situation of golus, he said Shir. How could he sing? As in the mizmoirim, that's wegen Ezri Goimer, that the support comes from Hashem, and that is an encouragement. The nesinas koyach oiv baikum dem golus. It gives you the power to overcome exile. But how could one stand in an open joy? Was damot is masim to sagen shira. It's only when there's a revealed joy can you say shira. Similar to what our sages of blessed memory say, a song can be said only on wine. So how could you say it in a time when you're in Choron? Choron is the anger of Hashem. And the home of love. How do you sing over there? Is there beer in them? The explanation is the Yerida for Yaakov Avinu Lebeis Lavan, the descent of our father Yaakov to the house of Lavan, is given b'shvil ha'aliyah. That was for the purpose of the elevation. As Zolzain vayifritz ish me'oid me'oid, that the man should burst out very much. Ovibald as Yaakov had gesend and taklis hamekuvan von Zayin Yerida. He saw that the goal of his descent, the aliyah was v'derfun arishkumen, the elevation that is going to come from this, the riber hat zayin ding beveis Lavan gezogt shir hamalis. That's why, while in the house of Lavan, he said the shir hamalis, because he saw in it the outcome of it. Is there beer with them? Is there beer in them? So what is the explanation over here? Yerida for Yaakov Avinu Lebeis Lavan is given b'shvil ha'aliyah. The descent of our father Yaakov to the house of Lavan was for the purpose of an elevation. As that he should be burst out, the man should burst out very much. Since Yaakov saw the goal of the purpose from his descent, the aliyah was the elevation that will come from that. The riber that's why in the house of Lavan he said Shir Hamalis. He was singing, knowing what the result is. Vov. Everything expresses itself in its beginning and in the top, in the head. And that we find in that Tehillim, in the first of the 15 Tehillim. Similar in our case. As the aliyah was kumdruk the Yerida in Golus, that elevation that comes through the descent in exile is mudgesh in the Ersten from the Tezvav Shir Hamalis. It's emphasized in the very first of the 15 Shir Hamalis. There's siyum b'choisem from the Ersten Shir Hamalis, the conclusion and the end of the first of the Shir Hamalis. Everything goes by the end. The end of the first perek gives us a sense of that chapter of Tehillim. Is ani sholem v'chi adaber heimol milchama. I'm for peace, but as I speak, they want war. What's meant? What this means is, as choch, as afila, as ervil sholem, even though he wishes for peace from deswegen, they are coming to wage war against me. Was the milchama ruchnis is those that helen v'hester from Golus. That spiritual world is the obscurity, the blockage of exile, the proteus, and specifically that inyan hanisyonis the idea of these tests was einen Meneo Ma'akev von Avodas Hashem that prevent and hold back the service of Hashem. Und sie kommen in Milchama gegen them. And they come to war Boim li lochem against Avodas Hashem. They are waging a war against Hashem. Und in dem, was sagt Shir HaMailis of Hemel HaMilchama, he says, sing HaMailis, Shir, on the word Milchama is Mudgash, that emphasizes the Goydel HaIlui was Kumta Reis durch the Milchama, the great elevation which comes out of this war. Babir was that Shir HaMailis is Chadaber Hemel HaMilchama. Babir, Ayid Torzich nit areinlosen, Ayid is not allowed to let himself in, and not even place himself in matzah from his shyness in a situation of test. The contrary, don't bring me to a test. The Father Zokter, that's why he says, Ani Sholem. I'm looking for peace. As Zuchtan Aveda, he's looking for a service with Derech Sholem, in a way of peace, was is nicht verbunden mit Milchama v'nisyonis, which isn't associated with wars and tests. He's not looking for that, to be challenged and be tested and having to wage battles on a spiritual level. But yet, it's sad that because of the advantage, the elevation, which only takes place after you have to wage war and test. Sometimes Hashem makes it as Heima Boim Li Lochembi, that they are coming to wage war with me. Asvish and the Heimo Chiadaber Heimo amongst the Heimo Losharabi. That's a plural, the Heimo then. Olam Hazagash Michulu, this physical world, Shenikar Rishus Harabi, which is called the public domain. That's why it's Heimo. It's they. They come l'melchama. Zoln zayin azoyne. The Eibishter makes it that there shall be such was kumen loichem zayin and sterben von Avodas Hashem. They come to wage war and then disrupt the service of Hashem. One of them zokter shir hamalis. He sings the matter. Nit nor zayin and dinis shenis. Im nit meinei von Avodas Hashem. Not only do they not hold him back of the service of Hashem, and they do not impact a weakness in his service, nor adarabe, but on the contrary, say rufun ba'im arois atoisves koyach va'emetz. They bring out in the person extra, additional power and more courage. Yeser says yeser with more force, with more power. Und das bringt him, as steht in Amatze von Shir, that brings in that he's song, even though it's La Milchama, Shir Amalis, that is still a song because there is an advantage. While you're not looking for Milchama, you're looking for peace. But when the Eibishter gives you challenges, it's still Shir. You see the greatness and the elevation that takes place through that. Yeder inyan in Torah is Ayron, every aspect of Torah is an eternal lesson. Is there full movement from this we understand as Kol Hanal is a Hayron, all the above is a lesson. As Kol's man Hagolus for the entire time of exile. And then there's a special lesson for our time. Kushi Hagolus, where we're on the difficulty of exile. This is a lesson for us in the Dora the Ikrus of Mashiach, the generation of the hills of Mashiach. When you think about, you reflect in this double and quadruple darkness from Dora the Ikrus of the Mashiach, of the generations of the hills of Mashiach, Biz al pi Torah, is do amokim tzfregen, according to the Torah, as it says in that chapter of Tehillim, you ask, where is my help going to come from? God forbid you can give up. Yush is the lesson from the above. Since the descent of Yidden into exile, was is bedukmas Vayetzei Yaakov gema vayelech Harana, which is similar to Yaakov going out of Eretz Yisrael, going to Haran. Is b'shvil ha Leah is because of the elevation. Kedei Suzel Zayin the Yisrael Ermin Achosh. There should be the advantage of life when it comes from darkness. When Yisrael Lechacham and Asichla should be the advantage of wisdom when it comes from foolishness. Dar Zayin that Esa Einai. You raise your eyes, and then you will see. In order to be able to get to overcome this exile and the Choshech, you have to lift up your eyes. And that was you needed to look closely. And I raise up your eyes. Zum Tachlis Hamekuven from Golus to the goal, the intent. What's the ultimate intent of the exile? The Aliyah was Vayetzei Migula Hasida, the elevation that's going to come with the future redemption. And in that case, is nit norvas mevet nit dispol for the Choshech HaGolus. Not only that you do not become impacted, affected by the darkness of the exile, nor adrabe, but on the contrary, mishteit in amayim du matzav for simcha galuya. But you're standing in a situation, open joy, shir hamalis. So you don't let it bring you down, but you are happy when you lift your eyes and you see the Golus is the greatest aliyah that comes from the Gula Hasida and Shir Hamalis. Now, don't mean you can't be happy with Golus. Chaz v'sholem zu zogen, amedav zayin zufrieden der Maimah du Matzah from Golus. God forbid to say that you should be happy from this situation and standing of exile. Und trachten as das is a Maimah du Matzah masim farid, that this is, and to think that this is a standing in a situation that fits for a Jew. Chaz v'sholem, God forbid. Golus is an inyan from Choshech. Golus is darkness and sichlus, like is Choshech and sichlus. When I eat bekolus, and when I eat this bekolus, zokt toidas emes klor, und weitach, the true Torah says very clearly and very openly, as is a ben shegolam al shulchan aviv hamelech, that you're like a son who has been exiled from the table of the father, the king. Und ob der ben feels anders und sagt anders, if the son feels differently and says differently, doesn't realize that he is not at the table of his father, is verstanding die spezielle Finsterkeit und Niederkeit von sein Golus. Then we understand how his darkness and how his loneliness is so specially dark that he doesn't even feel that it's dark. Nor, but we're saying here is not to be happy with Goldman. But you need to reflect on the intent. Why are you in a dark situation? Why are you? Well, you must recognize you're in a dark situation. But what we're talking about is to reflect as Ozain Yisrael. So there should be the advantage of light from the darkness. And Yisrael and the advantage to wisdom coming out of foolishness. And through this is revealed. When feel them answer, then you feel the answer. Where did my help come from? In the Shaila Gufa. And the answer comes in the question itself, like in Peter Shapanimi, according to the inner interpretation, as that Ezev at Nimshach from Bechinas Ayin. This help comes from the level of Ayin. Me Ayin, Yahweh Ayin gives you. And can the Bechina need bagreif, and you cannot grasp that level. It's higher than logic and understanding, which would be names of Hashem. If you said Hashem, that would be an understanding. This is Ma'ayin, something that we can't understand. When the Ezev and Nimshach Oichen say that Ishtalshlus, and that support, that help, extends also in the order of Ishtalshlus, on Begila and openly, on his Poil Dort, and it impacts there. Ezri Hashem Eisur Shemayim V'Oretz. My help is from Hashem, who makes the heavens and the earth bees in Shemayim V'Oretz Kipshutam, till the heavens and the earth literally, that it helps in the Shemayim V'Oretz. And that's Min Hashem. This is Mesichas Shabbos Parshas Vayera Tovshin Mem.